What's up? What's up? Alright. Looking good, looking good. Let's move this over here. Alright, bet. Let's get right into it. I don't know why it looks like that on the bottom. There it goes. Should be fine now. Let's get right into it with the earnings calendar. Now, again, there's absolutely nothing for earnings that I'm really looking at, honestly. Like Wednesday, so Tuesday, there's really nothing. Maybe Squarespace, but that's already released. After hours, Crowdspace maybe. Nothing really, anything on Wednesday, pre-market either. So earnings is a joke this week, but Powell's not. Powell is speaking today at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. I would be careful. You know, Powell is speaking today at 10 o'clock. If you're in a position and then 10 o'clock rolls around and then whatever Powell says, this thing starts going the opposite direction of your trade, you could be in trouble, honestly. So I would be careful about 10 o'clock. If you're going to get some trades in, get it before 10 o'clock or wait until after Powell stops speaking and after the market already reacted to that. But we might have a slow morning just because Powell is speaking, so it might wait for Powell and whatever he wants to say. Got to be careful with that. It might be choppy, it might be slow this morning, so we'll see. And then Wednesday, we also have Powell speaking. So back-to-back Powell speaks Tuesday and Wednesday. We got to be careful about that, but remember, Powell, that is the main one today. Powell is speaking today at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. Don't forget that. Real-time economics. Again, what to watch for today. Jerome Powell speaking today at 10 o'clock. Consumer credit, 3 p.m. Eastern, which is already after we're done trading. The U.S. lost 2.5 million jobs in January. It also added 500,000. Okay, small town squeeze, India trade, China debt. What else we're reading? Okay, pretty much went over that. And last but not least, Meta. Facebook and Instagram's parent company is set to lay off thousands more employees, according to Bloomberg report. This comes after slashed 13% of its workforce 4 months ago. Shares of the app geared toward the 10%. Rivian is down 6. I thought it said down 60%. It's only down 6% pre-market. It said it plans to sell 1.3 billion in convertible notes in a private offering. Chart in the markets. Must read. Okay. Alright, so we pretty much went over everything. Meta was in there, so we're going to take a look at that today. But actually, let's go over Meta first. There we go. All right. Number one, I wish they didn't bounce already, but we had this bounce area right here, that 184.5 to 185 area. You guys can see exactly why. If you guys look at the 1 hour time frame before that huge move, you can see that it kind of held up in this area, kind of was giving us support in this area, as you guys can see. Another bounce off here on the support. So it came back down. I was looking for the bounce. I wanted to take it out of this area of that 185, 184.5, and it already did that. So we can't really take a bounce just yet. It is pretty far away, but I am looking at that 190 area for a breakout on Meta. As you guys can see, this thing absolutely bounced off of there. I wish we could have took the bounce. I wish it didn't happen pre-market, but it did. So now that 190 area is coming up. We probably, hopefully, will break that 190 area. It looks pretty strong, honestly. It's been coming up, pulled back, came right back up. So hopefully we get past this hump right here that I might have trouble in to get to that 190 area. But I'm really looking at that 190 area for upside. If this thing starts coming back down at the 185, 184.5, that's where I'm going to be looking to take a call. You know, bounce off of there if it starts to hold that area. AMD. Now, AMD, the only thing that I'm looking at is this 1 hour time frame right here. As you guys can see, we had reactions right here. When we broke under this reaction area and retested it, we dropped, rejecting the top of that, rejecting that, rejecting that, rejecting that, and then just kind of held up in that area. So I want to see if AMD can come back to that 80, 80.5 area and show strength, you know, show buyers in that area. And if I do see that, then I'll be able to play a bounce off of this area on AMD. I'm not really looking to play any breakouts on AMD. Contracts, I doubt they're going to move anything crazy. I was surprised that NVIDIA contracts moved yesterday after that 240 break. But as you guys can see, AMD, I want to see if we can take a bounce off this area right here. It's trying to break that 81 area, so I want to see if we get down to this bounce zone. Tesla, same thing here, but this one's a lot closer than Meta, and it didn't bounce yet. I'm looking to take this bounce off of this 192, 191 area. We don't really have any key levels that I'm looking to take a breakout of just yet. That 204 is pretty far away, and that 185 is pretty far away. So I'm looking to take a bounce off of this 191, 192 area. Just because, again, you can see the reactions here, right? You can see all these reactions right here in this area. It's kind of holding up. What happens when it broke out? We went all the way up to that 200 area. So I'm looking to see if it wants to bounce off this 192, 191 area. And then we'll be able to take something off of that and just have a little retest right here. And then under that, that 185 for a breakdown, that 204 for a breakout to the upside. That's what I'm looking at on Tesla. NVIDIA, now that 240 break was so nice, right? How many people caught that 240 break? We were saying this yesterday. I caught this live in the chat yesterday. It was so nice. We literally rode it all the way up to the top area right there. It was super nice. It was like 11% on a Monday, which 11% is nothing crazy, but for a Monday on NVIDIA, that is insane. And the actual trade itself was so nice. The actual trade itself was so nice. I didn't care if it was a Monday. I still wanted to take it. I'm surprised we got 11% out of it. Usually on a Monday, contracts don't move like that. But for NVIDIA, for a Monday, this was such a nice trade. We literally got in as it was breaking that 240 area and just rode this thing out. Next thing you know, we're at 241, 75% out already. And I just moved my stop loss to break even. And then this thing started going up. Then I moved my stop loss to the 240.5. This thing kept going up, and then I was almost fully out. I only had 5% left in my contracts, and I put my stop at 241. As soon as we come down, that's when I was fully out, and it was so nice. And then, if you missed the 240 break, instead of just FOMOing into this, you know, all you got to do is wait for it to retest it again. It retests it, and that retest was so nice as well. Right? Let's say you played it out of this area. So it came down, started to bounce, and then it broke out of that little area right here. And then you got into calls right there. That break and retest was so nice. So if you got in right here, super nice. Right? That literally was a bigger move than the actual breakout itself. And that thing ran up to about 242, 242.5. So lovely. You know, that NVIDIA trade was amazing. But we are looking at something different on the video today since 240 already broke. Very nice reactions though at 240. I like that. But let's go and see exactly what we're looking at on the video. As you guys can see, we have these reactions right here, that 232, 234 area. I'm trying to see if we could get a bounce off of here. You can see that we came down, retested that 232. When we held 232, we came to a little new high, right? We started bouncing off this. Again, we bounced off of this. We bounced off the bottom of there. We have all these nice reactions. We started rejecting on the top of there, and it just looks super nice. So I want to see if we come back and retest this area of 232, 234, and then get a bounce off of there. My next key level, though, I don't really have anything for upside. it would literally just have to be like the continuation of upside, just because we have not been in this area for such a long time. So it literally, depending on how big these walls are, let's say 243. I don't even know why it's not giving this to me. Okay, well, let's say the 243 area right here, if there's not a huge wall there, then we're not going to be able to take it. But since we haven't been in this area for such a long time, I think literally every psychological level should have a decent wall right above that 242.48. Depending on how big this wall is, that'll just be literally a continuation play. But you have to see how big the wall is there in order for you to take it. 230 to the downside. I'm looking at that. There's reactions there. I really want to see how big the wall is there as well, because we did break out of that. That looked nice. Started bouncing off that 230, and then this one's like iffy, which is why I kind of want to see how big the wall is there first before I take it. And then 223, and then 220. These are really nice levels. And then hopefully we get a continuation of upside on that as well. Amazon, you guys can see exactly why I have my bounce area at 93 to 92.5. Just very nice reactions here. It kind of held right there. It came back up, and then it broke under it, rejected that, came back down. So that was nice. And then it broke out of that. That came all the way up to that 96.5. So that 93, 92.5 is what I'm looking at for a bounce. I want to see if we can get back in that area before it starts bouncing, but I'm also looking at that 90 level for downside. It's not going to happen today, and if it does, then it's just going to be so overextended. But I'm looking at that 90 levels for downside, 93, 92.5 for a bounce. Not really looking at anything for a breakout to the upside. SPY. Let's go to the 1 hour time frame and let's look. So as you guys can see, we have the zone here, literally on both sides. Market came up, came right back down. So it kind of was just like a break-even day on the market yesterday. But we have the zones right here. I don't know why this thing keeps popping up. We have the zone right here. We have the zone right here on SPY, and then we have this 405 level. It already broke yesterday, and it also broke pre-market yesterday as well. So we're just kind of like back and forth. Like there's really nothing much to talk about on SPY, since we are just back and forth in our areas, literally in the middle of this. So just back and forth. I want to see the closer we get to here, what exactly the market wants to do. But I just want to see what happens, honestly. Now, NQ. Again, you guys already have the same exact levels. Hopefully, I've been talking about these levels for so long now. We're starting to reject the top of that 12,500 area. As you guys can see right here, we're starting to reject that 12,500. Starting to bounce off of this. You guys saw it broke out, came right back down, and then broke out of that, retested that, came up to that 12,500, came back down. So I want to see if we retest this 12,308.5 again. And if we do, that would be nice for everything else that we're looking at, because then we can get that balance that we're looking for on Tesla or on Nvidia or on Meta or whatever it is I'm looking at. Now ES, that 4065 was reactive yesterday, and that's what I'm looking at. That's a very important key level. And then I made the previous low day 4048, previous high day 4082.5. The zones are all the same. All I did was just change the previous low day and previous high day, and then I just changed that important key level based off previous price action. And as you guys can see, this has been the most reactive. That 4065 looks nice. We're literally just back and forth in this zone, so it's just like a consolidation zone. We need to get out of this. I want to see if we're going to test that previous low day. I want to see if we're bouncing off our zone into that important key level, or just going back and forth until Powell starts speaking. So I really am curious about that. But right now, as you guys can see, Meta bounced off of that. I want to see if we get closer to this previous low day with NQ testing this 12,308.5. I think that's going to be the move, because if we start coming up again, it's like we're going to miss every single bounce play that we have right now. And like we really can't do anything until this important key level area on NQ. So we really would have to rely on ES alone. And as you guys can see, this is like just doing its thing. But look how reactive this zone is though. Like actually. Bounce off of here when it broke under. Look at that huge move. Starts to retest this. Broke out right here. It came up. Came right back down. Broke under that again. When it broke out again. Retested that. Came up to a new high. And now we're literally bouncing off that zone again. If you don't have this on a chart, I don't know what you're doing. You need to have this stuff on your chart. Like, look how reactive this area is. Same thing here. It broke out. Came back down, broke out again, came right back down. It's just very reactive. That's crazy. Super reactive in that area. That's what Amazon's doing. Amazon's trying to bounce right now. It better get closer. Because if NQ starts to die into that zone, this 12,308.5, we'll be able to get the Amazon bounce. We'll be able to get this Nvidia bounce. We'll be able to get the Tesla bounce, because NQ will come down and it starts to come all the way into this area. And then same thing here on AMD. All right, so I'm really curious to see exactly what happens in this area. Just want to know. I'm waiting for NQ to also start to come down. Right there. Anyone got any questions? It's only 8:32. Jeez. We go through everything. Is your opinion on Google? I'm trying to swing Google. I'm trying to get that down a little bit, but it is pretty far away still. We go on the daily time frame. Like, it looks good. It's trying to find a bottom at this 85-90 area. So I want to see what it does in this area. I might have been too late. Like, I already have shares of long term at that 85, but I'm really waiting to see if we come back and retest this area, and I'll be able to take a bounce and then exercise the contracts to get more shares of Google. That's what I'm looking forward to. Bro, this is so long ago. Is that August? But yeah, the market's just waiting for Powell. As am I. Literally, it's just back and forth in the zone. Do you swing shares or options? If I ever swing, which is so rare, the only reason why I would swing is to get the shares itself at a cheap price. Like, if I'm going to swing Google, for example, it's going to be for long term. Obviously, I'm going to sell a lot of my contracts, but it's something that I want to get into more because I already have shares of Google, but let's say I want to get into more. The only reason why I would swing, the only reason why it would make sense is if I actually exercise some contracts so I can get the shares, but I rarely do that. But I would swing options and then exercise some, obviously, as shares. It's coming up to this 190. I swear if this breaks right now, I'm gonna end stream if this thing breaks. I swear. Better not break. It's about 50 cents away. Now we're literally bounced off this 191, 192 area. Again, just waiting to see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't bounce right now. I want to see if it gets closer. I fly through this whole watch list. Like, I literally fly through this in like 15 minutes. It's crazy. Merch is about to be fully sold out. I think today is going to be sold out. So that would be interesting. Anything else you guys are looking at for today? Pretty much went over the whole S&P 500. This is already bouncing. 93, 92. Starting to come down to our bounce zone. Just in this area right now. Waiting for Powell. Y'all are dead this morning. Is everyone up this morning? Any merch updates? What you mean? Like if it's sold out? Appreciate that, Nano. You show NQ? Yeah, I got you. Guess I don't have it. Oh, this is yes. Oops. Here's NQ. Other levels I'm looking at NQ. Can you go over QQQ? NQ is basically the same thing. I don't really look at Qs. NQ is the same thing, honestly. Yeah, Mark is just waiting for Powell. But I mean, if there's nothing else, we pretty much went over everything. I could just end it right now. Just hop on the Discord. Also, make sure y'all join that free server. I posted some stuff in there yesterday. Yeah, I posted a little bit of stuff on there yesterday. It's about to hit 500 people in there. It's pretty dope. Pretty dope.